The national championship is tonight, Uconn versus Purdue. Just wanted to go through the game for a minute with you guys, go over what I'm seeing in terms of the matchups and how I'm going to be betting this. So, obviously, it's been a pretty fun tournament so far. We haven't had kind of like the amazing storylines that we've had in the past, but we did have a Cinderella get to the Final Four. They're now gone, but we're left with 2 1 seeds. Would you look at that, right? Coming off a nice sweep for the Final Four games, we went 3-0. We had Uconn minus the points. We had the unders in both games. And overall for the tournament, 28, 14, and 1, 65% against the spread. I'm happy with that. We just want to end it tonight with a bang. It would be nice to end it with another winner. So this game tonight, I think, is very interesting because one of the takes that I'm seeing go around a lot is that you've got obviously the 7-footers, right? Klingon and Edie. And the thing that I'm seeing a lot is that they cancel each other out, right? And that you'll see, whoever wins this game is going to be based on who performs in the other positions. And I actually disagree with that. That's where I kind of veer off from the crowd. I don't think they're just going to cancel each other out. I think Uconn and Klingon have a distinct edge in a couple of ways in this game. The first one is just the matchup itself. So Klingon being 6'2" and Edie being 7'2" and Edie being 7'5" is a small enough difference to where his size is not going to overwhelm Donovan Klingon, right? Like a lot of times with Zach Edey, what we see is his weaknesses get offset, like his speed, his defense on guys coming around the pick and roll, things like that, like being a little step too late. It gets offset from the fact that he's so big and strong. People just get scared to go to the rim, or he'll block your shot at the rim, or grab offensive rebound, get fouled on a defensive rebound. That stops play, gives him a chance to rest. So his stamina and his speed never really comes into play. But I think it could tonight against a guy like Donovan Klingon who can match him in size, maybe not in strength, but is a little bit quicker, right? Maybe that half step quicker, a better defender on the ball and also at the rim. You saw that a lot with Alabama, right? You don't see Edey block a ton of shots at the rim. He does block a few, but you saw Klingon against Alabama and in the previous games as well, against Illinois and against San Diego State, how he protects the rim when guys get close. It looks like you've got him beaten, and he has that little burst of speed because he's just a little bit lankier, a little bit faster than Edey. And I think that could be the difference tonight in terms of the matchup. I think UConn knows that, and they've got guys that can handle the ball very well coming around those picks. And if you can get around Edey and get that little half step on him, he's a bit slower to recover. So I think they could maybe use that, bring him out of the paint to attack the rim. And on the other side, I think they're comfortable with Purdue doing what they want to do because they know they've got Klingon protecting the rim, who does a pretty good job at that. And the second thing is just experience, right? They won it last year. Klingon was on that team that won it last year. Dan Hurley was there obviously last year, and I think the experience could be the difference in this game versus, the other side where it's a big first for Purdue. It's a huge accomplishment for their program, and maybe they live up to the moment. Anything can happen. But obviously, from a gambling perspective, we deal with probabilities, right? And I think the chance of the more experienced side coming out on top is probably a bit higher here. So so in terms of the spread, though, it opened 5.5. It's now at 7. So I grabbed it at 6 because I saw this team coming in. And I thought we can beat this line. So we grabbed it at 6. Our subs grabbed it at 6. It's now at 7. If it gets higher, I see some 7.5s popping up. 8 or 8.5 would be where I could understand a play on Purdue. So that it's not like out of the realm of possibility. So I get that. If this was a 10-point spread, I might be on Purdue. But 8 or 8.5 is kind of like that threshold where I would say, all right, if you're betting Purdue, I get it. For me at 6, it's a bit too short. So I like UConn to cover. We took -6. And in terms of the total, I like the under again. We hit it on Saturday in both games. I think it's going to cash again in this game. It's 146. I think it's 145.5 now. I would still play it there. But the interesting thing is UConn is a slow-paced team, right? People get fooled if you're not up on the metrics and stuff because most people are not. They just watch the games for entertainment. But because of what we do here, right, we're up on all the metrics. UConn's actually one of the slowest teams in the country based on tempo and based on pace and a number of possessions per game, right? It just looks like they're not because they're so efficient in those possessions. They're so efficient offensively that it looks like they're this high-flying, high-powered offense when really they're just incredibly good in the half court. But they're going to play slow. Purdue a little bit faster, but still bottom half of the country in terms of pace. And it's a national championship game. You saw in the previous game between Purdue and NC State, one of the things that I mentioned on my analysis of that game was that I thought what happened with Purdue versus Tennessee was not going to happen again. Edey shooting 22 free throws, Purdue getting 30-plus free throws versus like whatever it was, 10 for Tennessee. I said it became such a big storyline in the public and on social media that kind of felt the referees were going to call it much more lax, let them bang it out. And that's exactly what happened with NC State, DJ Burns and Edey down low. Barely any free throws in that game, much more fluid game, smooth. And I think that's what's going to happen tonight. I don't think you're going to see the referees take over the show with a lot of free throws, because if so, that would hurt, obviously, a play on the under. So that's kind of what I'm feeling here. I think it's going to be called a little bit less. They're going to let them play. People are literally tuning in to watch these two big men battle it out. It would be a bad product to just call a foul, every other play that they touch the ball. So I think you're going to see less fouls, less free throws. It's going to be more about who makes the plays, who makes the shots. And I think UConn just has more weapons, more depth, more experience. So I like them, and I like the under. A guy that I would watch out for is Caravan, coming off of those screens. You saw it late against Alabama. He hit that big clutch three to kind of ice the game. But Purdue, in terms of their side, they have decent perimeter defenders, but in terms of their size and length, right, he's like a bigger guy. I don't think they have anybody that matches up great with him. So he could just hit a couple shots and it'd be a normal game. But watch out for him to have maybe a bigger game than usual. I think he could maybe do some damage since they don't have somebody that matches up really perfectly well against him. But this is going to come down, guys, to the big guys and to me personally coaching. So I lean to UConn -6. I lean to the under to cap off a pretty nice college basketball run that we had. Our season was kind of up and down, but that happens every single year. It's interesting, right? The season's like up and down. You might even sometimes come into the tournament down a few units on the year, and then we just make it all during the tournament run. So it's kind of like that's our sweet spot, and it's very, very similar in the NBA as well. Down a couple units right now, actually, in the NBA for the year. And then the playoffs is where we whip out the playoff systems, and then we usually go on a run. So UConn -6, under 146. Those are my bets. I gave you a little bit of insight as to why. And guys, if you're betting the game, good luck, no matter what side you have. And cheers to a good college basketball season. And we'll be back on some more. I got some baseball stuff coming for you guys here too as well. All right. Thanks for watching.